we appreciate Mr. Skumas. He tells everybody to call him boss, but Mr. Skumas being with us today. I've had several conversations with him. Everybody knows me. Here's my concern. It's not just about this church. We have 4 churches that are down, 4 churches that are in trouble. We have St. Joseph's Church here. We have the old New Zion Baptist Church on Pennsylvania Avenue. We have Carter's Chapel on Bidwell Street, and we have the Mosque over on Columbus Avenue. So Mr. Skumas has come out here and he's agreed to just talk with us a minute about the church. He asked who was this for, and I told him it was for the community. And he's been of the community, part of the community for a long time. And so, Mr. Skumas, just tell us a little bit about what's happening here. I saw the roof around the corner, but it's your story.
We purchased the church about a year ago in hopes that we could do some development here. Pastor James had the congregation here beforehand and wanted to move somewhere else, and we decided because of the proximity that we would be here. Again, my name's Vasilius Skumas. I've been a part of Manchester Academic before it was in Manchester Academic. So for about 30 years, I started under Graham, Dr. Robinson. When we had our architect come in, put some drawings together, maybe an art center, maybe something else, some classrooms, possibly a preschool. But after the engineers and some other folks came in, really worried about the church even making it through the winter. It's in that bad a shape. I have nightmares now about something coming off the top, and that's why we got the scaffolding put around it. But if we could take you inside, it's in really, really bad shape. It's unfortunate.
The birds have made a home in the roof up here.
And a big tree.
And a big tree up here. This is part of the Manchester story in terms of what's happening here in the neighborhood. What do the numbers say that you're looking at?
So just to stabilize it, which means you're not fixing it up, you're not doing anything else, just to keep it from falling, $2.5 million.
Stabilization, $2.5 million. And you've had engineers look at this and, okay. And as you said, looking up at, we have the bricks coming down, and that's why we have this. Right. How long ago did the bricks start coming down?
I had a board member that Will Tompkins that came to me and said, it was in the summer, he called me out of the building and I came down and we kind of looked up and saw some stuff and got really scared, and that's when so it was this summer.
Past summer, 24.
Right.
And that's a collection right there.
Right.
Okay, it's a collection right there. We appreciate you taking it off and giving us 30 days to look at this and have a conversation about this. You're talking directly to Manchester residents. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Manchester Youth and Manchester Development have been a part of the community for 50 years. The charter school's been here for 30 years. We're all under Reverend Graham, and their mission was always to be part of the community and to help out the community. And that's what we want. We want what's best for the community.
I've had the opportunity to travel all over the world. I've seen some of the most magnificent buildings, from the Taj Mahal to you name it. I've seen some wonderful buildings. But what makes buildings truly great is what happened in them. This is Reverend Sam Williams' building. He was in his church when I was a little boy. Right now, we're in a preservation process called preservation by demolition, in which if we don't like buildings in Manchester, we just tear them down. I'm standing out here in the neighborhood talking about what should be happening in this community. There are 5 churches at risk: St. Joseph's Church, New Zion Baptist Church, Carter Chapel, and again, there's a mosque right up the street in the gateway of our neighborhood that's falling down because nobody asked for evidence of financing. When was the last time you went to a meeting and someone said, let's have a conversation about what's going on with our churches and what's happening in this neighborhood? If I have to stand out here as a personal one to have this conversation, I'm going to do it. But I know there are many people who feel the same way I feel, that we've got to look at what historic preservation really means. I haven't even got to talk about the schools yet. We haven't even talked about the houses yet. We're still on the churches. We're going to keep going, and we're going to show you what's happening in the neighborhood. We're going to go around back and we're going to look at what's happening in the back of the building. We're at the rear of this building. It was purchased by Manchester Community Baptist Ministry, sold it to Manchester Church Lost, February 1st, 2013. No one has really thought about what we do with this church since then. As a community, I'm asking that we come together and have a meeting and begin to think about what's going on with our churches, what's going on with our schools, what's going on with our houses. Well, just as a hindsight, I can tell you what's going on with the houses. They're falling down. We're not raising any money. It's preservation by demolition, and no one's lifting a finger to do anything about it. I'm going to walk this neighborhood and I'm going to tell the story. We are engaged in thinking through Manchester's development strategy, or shall I say lack thereof. People keep saying there's a Manchester plan. Well, right now, I'm looking at the neighborhood. We just left Voss Skumas, and his building is not in the plan. We're at the gateway to Manchester right now. When I say gateway, this is one of two entrances in and out of Manchester, not including Chateau Street. We have a mosque here that's been sitting here for going on 6, maybe 8 months now, not done. This mosque was approved by perhaps the neighborhood, but definitely by city planning. It was approved by the city of Pittsburgh for this to be done. This is a pure case of where someone approved of a project and didn't check the bank, didn't check evidence of financing, didn't check whether or not this could be completed. I don't know who the developer is on this site, but this is what says hello to people coming across the bridge. We're going to go on to the other churches. If you don't want to view this, that's okay. But we're going to look at all the development in terms of what is or is not happening in Manchester. Stay tuned. Carter's Chapel. That's where we're at right now. Listen, this building is falling down around me. You walk past this building every day. I know you do. If you don't walk past it every day, there are some days you walk past it. This is the 4th church I've visited now. Are you beginning to see a pattern? People say that they really care about historic preservation in Manchester. I don't mean to sound crass. I'm not trying to sound difficult. We care about historic preservation when we can do Christmas parties. We care about historic preservation when we can do house tours. We care about historic preservation when we can partner with people and maybe celebrate some of the holidays. But do we care about preservation enough to really say what really is the development strategy? What's worth saving? What does economic development really look like in this neighborhood? How do we make it really matter? Should you be out here with me right now, shouting from the highest rooftops? I've been raised as a preservationist, and I'm going to continue to fight for Manchester and fight for the residents in Manchester. We need you to come out to the community meeting so we can have a real discussion about community economic development. Again, this church is falling down around us. We've lost this church. We've probably lost other churches in the neighborhood. But can we at least have a conversation or a discussion about it? Thanks.